Welcome back, everybody, to RezRootz. I am here again to help host this brand new episode, and we are here with the special guest, Kai Lucio. Kai, welcome to the show, man.
Morning. Well, welcome. Thank you. My bad.
It's all good, man. I know we're just in that season where we're still waking up, even though it's like, what is it, like 6 o'clock right now? No, it's like 5:15.
Yeah. Every time someone says something to me, my default is good morning or hi. Like so that's why I said good morning at 5:13 p.m.
No, I get you. Working on the night shift, man, I gotten so used to telling everybody good night, dude.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate you, Kai, coming on the show. Could you just tell the viewers just who you are and just giving them a background of where you come from?
Yeah. So I was born in Gallup, New Mexico, and I was basically raised like there most of my life. And I'm in my second year. I'm a sophomore here at IBC. I praying about a bachelor's. We'll see. But I love making music. What was the other? What else?
Oh yeah, your tribe.
Navajo and Zuni.
Nice.
Yep. Both of them. I'm the peacemaker.
Nice. And do you happen to possibly know your clans by any chance?
Yes. And I'm related to all of you. My name is S.H.A.P.E Kai Lucio S.H.A.P.E Bitani Enisle Toadlini Bashchin Tabahan Dasche Nasteja Dashanele.
Nice. And then how many years have you been here at IBC now?
It's like 2 years and a half, I think.
Congrats, dude.
Damn.
Yeah, you were the January student, huh?
Yeah. It was 2022?
I think it was 22, yeah.
No, I'm sorry, 2023.
Okay.
Did spring, fall, took a break the next spring, and then came back for last fall. And so,
nice.
Yeah, finishing up my second year.
Yeah, there you go, man. Well, welcome back. And, I'm glad to have you back on the show because last time we had you was like a year or two ago now.
Yeah.
When we had Joel.
It looked way different, too. I just remember sitting on that table, having the GoPro, like, the fish face.
So would you say it's a major improvement?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When I came in here, I was like, wow, like it's a whole podcast. It's a real podcast. So it's cool.
Nice. Yeah, we definitely put in the investment and honestly, we love the outcome. And we're hoping to do more too. So we definitely have more plans. But yeah, dude, like for today's episode, especially for you guys that are listening right now, today we're talking about finding your shape, living out your purpose. So as of right now, Kai, you're currently in the class called S.H.A.P.E, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It's for my SF. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys meet every Friday then. So with that S.H.A.P.E, what are you guys currently going through right now?
I think we just finished abilities and we just finished personality. And so we're going to touch on experiences tomorrow, actually.
Okay.
So,
nice. Yeah, because right now, I really appreciate you bringing the book, man, because I totally forgot my copy. But as y'all can see, this is the book right here, S.H.A.P.E. As you can see, written by Erik Rees, Finding and Fulfilling Your Unique Purpose for Life. I guess the next thing I just got to ask you right now is like, how would you describe the book for everyone that possibly hasn't read it yet?
Yeah. So when they were telling me that I was going to take a class called S.H.A.P.E, I was like, they really want me to get in shape. And so I was like, man, maybe they might be right. And I looked in the mirror and I'm like, yep, I need shape. And I showed up with some exercise gear, my yoga mat. And then they're like, where's your Bible? And I was like, oh, shoot, my bad. Wrong idea. No, I'm just kidding. No, so for S.H.A.P.E, this was really cool. My freshman year, we were talking mostly about like just learning about just the basic foundations of a believer, like your spiritual gifts. And we kind of surface level, we touched a little bit on it. But then this is going like really in depth with the spiritual gifts. That's the S. H is the heart, and A is abilities, P is personality, and then E is experiences. So they're very like in depth with each of them and finding out like who God made you to be, your unique way, and it's a really good book. Yeah, I really think every believer should read this because it does help you, especially if you're challenged with what am I to do for the church? How am I to serve? what does God expect me of me? Like, and it's really cool because it's like a mirror, I would say. This is like a mirror, and it helps you to see different parts of you that you would never find yourself seeing.
Dang. I like that description, dude. And I really appreciate you basically listing down the spiritual gifts, heart, ability, personality, and experience. Because that was literally the next question I had for you to test out your knowledge. But looked like you came prepared.
Yeah. A+, let's go.
Let's go right here. Wait, who was the teacher again? Or who's teaching it?
It's our Dean of Men and Dean of Women, which is Kareen Esplin and Joshua Ortiz.
All right, I'll be sure to send them this video link to show them that you are truly learning what you're being taught.
I'm doing it, guys. Don't worry, I'm doing the work.
All right, so on this part of S.H.A.P.E, like which part of it would you say that stood out the most to you that really caught your attention?
Dang, I would say, I would personally say the part about like the heart, like where are you, what are you chasing? Like that was a really cool question to go in depth with, because I feel like at a person my age, I'm 21 now, I'm constantly always asking that. I'm constantly always figuring out where am I going to go, what direction, who will I pursue? There's just all a bunch of questions, and they're very fresh off of like high school because of the expectations your environment has. Family members, friends are like doing stuff. They're getting into families, and it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for me to like find my place, and like especially if I'm like chasing after what the Lord wants me to do. Like I have to surrender that. I have to surrender my heart, my passions, my desires, and say, Lord, this is, you made this. You're keeping me alive. There's a reason I'm still alive, and it's like you can take my life any time, but it's like for some reason you still have me here, so I got to give this to you because I'm a vessel.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Because like I don't know, like I guess could you explain more about that last part again? Just like how you're feeling like that vessel.
Yeah, like you have to leave room for the Lord to work in your life. I guess for me is if I'm constantly chasing after like faulty stuff, like worldly things, like money, women, or stuff that are so like everybody else is trying to chase, then there's no room for the Lord to like impact me in my heart and speak to me, because I'm like taking control of my life. I'm like, oh, I know what I want to do. I'm gonna go and pursue this, and just disregard what you want from me, Lord, because I already know what I want. You know what I mean? So there's no room for the Lord to, you're not really being a vessel. You were already sort of like disregarding surrender and submission, and you're wanting to take your own trail and your own decisions in life. But to be a vessel is to say, Lord, I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm gonna serve you. I'm gonna follow you. And that takes surrender. So
Dang. Because, like, I love what you said, dude. Like, you think you know what you want, but honestly, deep down, we don't even know what we want in the first place, too.
Nope.
Nope. And sometimes, like, we're in the area where we may even think, like, we do know what we want. We're like, yeah, I know myself. But then the Lord's like, no, I have something better for you. What you probably think is the best, I have something 10 times or even 100 times greater than that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, he made us. Like, even before the world was created. Like, it's hard to fathom that, but it's like, if the Lord knew how to make humans and stars and everything the way that it's meant to be, it's like, think of the great things he could do for your life. And like, I can barely make breakfast, you know what I mean? Like, I can barely do things. So it's like, man, when God creates, I want what he's having. You know what I mean? Like, I want what he's having.
Is that why I heard you screaming upstairs earlier?
That's AJ. AJ, that's AJ.
All right. Well, the next question I got for you, man, is have you discovered anything new about yourself in the process?
Oh gosh. Yeah, hold on. Let's see. Oh, this was convicting. So this is my spiritual gifts chart. So we took a test, and we were jotting down like little you can take a look at that if you want.
Oh yeah, thanks.
But it's like it has a list of spiritual gifts, and then there's like I think 80 some questions that ask pertaining to fit those categories in the spiritual gifts. And so I spent at least like 30 minutes just going through each question, answering them. Like, do I like for example, one of them is like, do I like to lead worship or sing songs to the Lord? Then I'm like, heck yeah, on the dot. And then I'd rate that number of like, this is how much I love to do it.
Hmm.
And then if there's times where it's like, do you love to like give up your time for someone, even if you take away your time? Then you would answer like most likely, not likely, not at all. And so that's how they would rate it. And so doing that, I found out, well, I wasn't surprised about the whole music thing because I love music, but I was surprised and kind of convicted that I had a number 2 in mercy. And I think the highest you can get is like a 15 or up. And I got 2 in mercy. That kind of scares me. But like I was like, okay. And then so I'm looking down, I'm like, I got a 7 for serving. I have a 7 for hospitality. I have a 5 for helps, 7 for giving, 4 craftsmanship, artistic, and 5 craftsmanship manual. So it's cool because one, I guess the scoring that I got high on was administration, evangelism, which was really surprising, exhortation, wisdom, intercession, knowledge, leadership, music was like the top. It was score 15,
Nice.
and then teaching and writing. So those are the ones that were like above 10. And with each of these, I was like, okay, that makes sense. And some were surprising, but like I was just convicted. I was like, having a 2 in mercy, that scares me because I'm like, I think, I was feeling down about it too because I think people don't really want to talk about their flaws or like point out what they struggle with or like what they're not good at.
Yeah.
But this helped me to realize like that's something I need to get good at. You know what I mean? Like I feel like all of this should be above, like if I'm like, that's the goal, I think, is to these spiritual gifts are like an exercise, like a muscle, like a spiritual muscle. And like the more you sort of like practice it and get an idea of it, you're like, here's money, and like, or like someone's like, oh, I'm sorry, I dropped your toothbrush in the toilet. Then that mercy has to come through and you'll be like, all right, that's fine. That electric $100 toothbrush, don't worry about it. I can get a $2 one from Speedway.
Dude, like, I'm like imagining like in the work terms, like mercy is your leg day.
Yes, on a Monday morning. Oh my goodness, without any creatine or protein, it's just goodness. It's a 10-mile hike. That's what mercy is for me. So I'm like, I gotta walk it.
Dang. No, dude, that's actually amazing that you brought out your spiritual gifts. I know I didn't ask about it, but I'm really glad you did because I got to say, looking at your score right now, I am the total opposite of you, man.
Really?
All my music were low. My mercy, serving, and giving was the highest, especially admissions. And seeing yours, or your admission was one of your lowest ones as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, dang, you're the total opposite of me, dude. I thought we would be the same, honestly.
We're yin and yang.
Yin and yang.
I call the black
one. Yeah. So, with your spiritual gifts, I guess the next question I got for you, like, are you happy with the results? Like, especially like with the good? Because I know you talked about the negative ones, but what about the good ones?
Yes, I would say yes. I mean, what I like about it is its clarity. Like it gives me an idea of like, okay, this is what I'm good at. This is what I know, that I have, and I've seen it. I've seen the way that the Lord's used those spiritual gifts. And then again, I feel like for me is it's like he's also revealing to me the spiritual gifts that I do need to work on because I would like giving, help, hospitality, serving, mercy, like that is all key to who Jesus is. Like him washing the disciples' feet, him providing food and even just company, and it's like that's big for people, especially for the native community. I think that was the big part. And I think that's why it was like, oh, okay, well, it makes sense because growing up you have at least for me, I had very less emotions in the house. So like it was hardly expressed to like, hey, go open the door for someone, or like it was always elders. I think that was the key, was it was always elders. And then I came to realize like, why don't I open the door for my mom or like my sister
Hmm.
or like even my brother or my dad. Like why don't I do stuff like that for them? Like
Huh.
why it's almost like secluded to elders, which
Mhm.
makes sense. And I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
it's good to have that, but it's like why not other people as well? Like that it shouldn't just be one person, but it should be everybody.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, I'm starting to realize that the patterns and habits that I built up as a kid and then now who I am as a person and then realizing this, I'm like, okay, I have to change that. I
Mm.
have to rework that pattern and not get sucked into it.
Dang, man, never really thought of it that way. I appreciate you saying that, dude. I don't know. It's just, yeah, we get the whole idea, like respecting your elders. That's a really good thing. But I don't know. Would you say like it was something from your past that possibly, like, I hope, like, if we're getting personal here, like, what would you say is like something that linked to that idea where you just kind of, it's hard for you to help others?
I think it's trust.
Mm.
I think that's the issue. Because growing up, I had a hard time trusting, and it was basically solely because of my parents. Like they had a really difficult relationship. I didn't know whether or not I was going to, I was gonna see both of them at my house, like when I'd come home from school, or if like there'd be a fight or something. So there's always me on eggshells, and even just let alone the way that both my parents loved each other,
Mm.
like it wasn't what I thought it was. And so when I took Christian family, like here at IBC, the classes, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is sad. Like that's
Mm.
sad that this is the biblical standards for parents, for a mother, for a father, for a husband, for a wife, and it's like I never seen any of that. And so when I
Mm.
heard a lot of that, I was like, I was sad. I was really upset because I badly wanted to be like, oh, I just got robbed, like oh, like just this family. Oh my gosh, like I got unlucky, like you know what I mean. But then I was like, but they didn't have the, I bet their parents were probably even worse, yeah, for lack of a better term.
Mm.
But like they probably didn't even know how to love.
Mm.
They didn't see their parents love each other. And I know my grandparents, recognizing them, I could see it. I could see how they're like that too, where they're so sort of secluded, and their stoicism is so highly above caring and like being loving and putting others first. Like it's
Mm.
always them first, and if you're okay, then go ahead and help people around you. So I would say, yeah, that because of all of that trickled down with my parents, I had a hard time trusting, like, whether or not I guess this was real. Like
Mm.
what the caring, the serving, the loving, like whether this was gonna be temporary or like there's something I had to give back. Does that
Mm.
make sense?
Kind of like they were doing it for getting something out of you.
Yeah, like it was conditional.
Mm.
And I feel like I've seen that a lot through my dad. And I don't, I think with getting how personal this is, I don't hold any grudges to any of my parents or my family members. I think I'm a lot more forgiving now because I understand like they they did not have what I'm learning about. You know what I mean? So with my dad was pretty harsh towards my mom in his words and his actions, and I feel like that resonated to me, and like, okay, I guess this is what it looks like. Like this is what it may seem like. So
Mm.
I would say, yeah, like I think trust kind of played a big part in why like that I have a hard time with it.
Mm. Gotcha. So would you say that also like just with shape helping you with your spiritual gifts kind of like reflected on that too as well?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because again, seeing Mercy at a number two, gosh, like that was like that scared me.
Mm.
That's what did it for me was I was like, okay, I really need to look at my heart that way, because if it barely was revealed to me now that that is what I would respond in certain situations, then that scares me, because I'm like, okay, I don't want to be like that. You know
Mm.
what I mean? I
Yeah.
want to be caring. I want to be merciful. I want to be like my Father in heaven. So yeah, so in a way, it was upsetting, but it's like it's good because it challenges me.
It convicted you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome because it's amazing how the Holy Spirit can do that. And honestly, I can already see how this class is going to benefit you in this. Yeah, so I just can't help but think about the thing I wrote down on here was Ephesians 2:10. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which prepared Jesus, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Apologies on that. So being able to be his handiwork, and earlier you said like he already knew us, like even before the world was even created.
Yeah.
Like we already had that purpose, and it's so amazing to hear about that. And so hearing this verse, like with you learning about shape, how would you say it changed your purpose in seeing and that Christ has for you right now?
What was it? Say that again.
How has learning about your shape changed the way you see your purpose in Christ?
I think it drives me. Like it makes me, I feel like thankful. One, being like, thank you, Lord. Like I do feel the blessings of like being able to like play music and sing, and I even what is it, administration, like learning about that. Like I'll give you a little definition of what it is, because it's at a number 9, but it feels, I feel a lot more of myself being like, okay, that makes sense. So the gift of administration is the ability to understand clearly the immediate and long range of a particular unit of the body of Christ, and to devise and execute effective plans for the accomplishment of those goals. And after reading this, I was like immediately thinking of the game Overcooked. Like because I was like, that makes sense, because when I play with my brother and my sister, like I am on it. I'm like a manager there. I'm like, you throw the fries, you cook
Where's the lamb
chicken, chop the lettuce, serve it. Look at the menu, and like it's so fun, but it's funny because I feel like it brings out who you are, and like because when you come across like situations or circumstance, and you see how people react, you see some people like shy away or like, I don't want to deal with this because it's scary. Then you'll see some people step in and be like, all right, this is how we're gonna do this. This is, you go over here, you do this, you do that. and and it's funny because like even Fortnite, like that's funny that games are playing into this, but like even Fortnite, like I'm like, all right, let's go over here. Let's go over to the freaking, what is it called? The samurai place.
I actually don't know.
I don't know either. But anyway, you get a sword there, and I'm like, let's go over there. And I'm like trying to guide Tank, Micah, and AJ and tell us where to go. And like, go in the car, let's go. And I don't know, like I feel, yeah, like I have this sense of like management. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I would like, I like that. I do like having, it's really bad, but I'm a very like control freak.
Okay.
And that's the downside, because not everything is I'm able to control. There's things I can't, and that's kind of where a lot of like anger and frustration and stress come from. But I'm learning through that. But like being able to say like, okay, let's do this, let's go here and manage this. Like I'm able to, you know what I mean? Like if you were to give me a task, like, all right, you're gonna have these people, and this is your goal, and this is what you got to do. I'll be like, okay. Then I feel like I'm able to accomplish that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Being like a leader, not a boss.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because like a boss is the one where they just tell you what to do. They just stand to the side and then they're just like trying to like do this. When a leader or a coach is there to actually point out and to also help alongside you, or to even push you to where you can grow.
Yeah. Because that's leadership. You know what I mean? Like I've heard many times of people downing leadership, of like, oh, like you get into the rut. Like you act like you're up here, but like when you come into leadership, you're doing a lot more, and that puts you in a place where you feel unnoticed and lonely sometimes, and like it's like it's a sacrifice. Being a leader is a sacrifice. And it's funny. I mean, it's funny because people that I've witnessed that have leadership roles, you can tell by the way that they understand what that means, leadership.
Hmm.
And because it shows in their actions, it shows in how they talk to people, how they think of them, and what they do. But then you understand people that really get what leadership is, and they're just like Jesus. They look just like Jesus. They sound like it, and they do things that go out the way, and not for the sake of, I'm not getting any money from this or whatever, but like I feel like you inherit a lot of those qualities.
Oh wow.
Like you, Emmanuel, like I could just see a lot of you being like just serving, like always looking for a way to serve. And I love that. And that encourages me, because I'm like, I like the way that you handle those kind of situations, because it's like, yeah, it sometimes goes unnoticed, but it's like you're doing a lot. Like when you do sound, when you do stuff like this, and like no one really notices it, but that's like leadership quality stuff, So I think that having that sacrificial mindset of like putting others first, and getting on the ground, and having someone have to step on your back to get above, to reach the top shelf, like that's what leadership is, and it is hard, and so it's not always encouraged to shoot for that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, and I thank you, man. I'm honestly touched. And when it comes to leadership, it's not just also, yeah, it can be lonely, it can feel like you're not getting credited, but when you really look deep down, it's like, are you doing this for yourself, or are you doing this for God? Because like the thing I struggled with a lot was pride. A lot of things that I did was to out justify my past actions, and also to try to show people like I am truly changed, or to even like tell people like, look how much I can do. I can do more than you. Whatever you can do, I can do 5 times more.
With my eyes closed.
And it's crazy because before you arrived, I literally had meetings with Will, Josh, the other Josh, and Daniel, and it was basically about how I was doing way too much. I had to swallow my pride and take a step down on a few things, and it was crazy because, like, it's truly true how when it comes to a leader, and I wasn't even a leader at that time, but as a leader now, I can look back and say I was really thankful that they were looking out for my well-being, because now I can do the work I'm able to do now serving, but now I know how to balance it out to where I'm actually resting, refilling my cup, but also saying no to the things. And it's hard. I hate saying no. I really do. But the school actually kind of helped me to say no to a few things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that I would say it was probably just because you were doing it alone, like that's not what leadership should be too. That was another surprising thing, was leadership isn't a one-man job. Like I think that's where a lot of people lack in, and that's why it takes a heavy toll on people. Like that's why it takes people down, and we look in like the past, like with David, I feel like if he had a person or two beside him, like most of the time, like, hey man, get off the couch, turn the Xbox off, it's time to go to war. He wouldn't have ran into that whole issue with Bathsheba. I mean, there's a lot of things David could have done, but that could have prevented him from that. But I think part of it is like having people beside you achieve that goal is leadership. You know what I mean? And obviously, ultimately, God is the authority and the example. And even Jesus had people that were close with him. Was it Peter, James, and John?
Yeah.
Like they were all there and in a community, and that I think that's crucial too, because we have this whole wrong mindset of thinking I'm the one to do this, and I'm the only one to do it. But then we have to destroy that, because no one can carry everything, the whole sheep, the flock. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And sorry, my bad.
No, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like what you said with I'm the only one that can do this. That can also be a hindrance, because it's avoiding us. It's allowing us to not train the next generation. We just tend to think like, oh, I'm the one with all the skills, so I'm going to keep it all to myself so I can show people what to do, when we, in reality, just like Christ did, he was able to show us how to do it too.
Yeah.
So it doesn't just, well, all the glory goes to God, of course, but he didn't not only did he want him to just be the only one that does the job, he wanted us to do the job as well too.
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing to know that, you know, I think I can't help but just wonder now, like, I know at Broken Arrow, you were a counselor over there.
Yeah.
Like, how did it come to the idea of you being a leader, like the things you learned there now?
Jeez. My first year was 2019 and I was 16 years old and I was a wrangler and I just kind of screwed around. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I made a bunch of jokes and made memories, and it was a really good year. Like, I feel like I couldn't really understand or grasp what ministry meant, and I didn't get the whole idea of servanthood, but I did have so much fun with campers. Like, that was what I remember doing a lot of, and just being so impacted by them. But then as 2020 happened, didn't have Broken Arrow. Everybody was bummed out. But then 2021 came back, and then all right, these people are gone. You're gone. Jacob James is gone. And well, no, I think Jacob James worked. But then like Stephen Honeycup, Terrence, David Lee, like all these guys that I looked up to that were very big Broken Arrow alumni. I was like, they're like, all right, Kai, now you're gonna be you got scooted into that role as being a counselor. So for me, I was like, oh gosh, like I was freaked out, and I was like, oh, like thank you, master, like this is such an honor, and I was like,
to them or to God?
it was definitely no. I was in the wrong mindset. I was definitely in the wrong mindset. Then I was like, oh, this is such an honor. Thank you, Ty. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for putting me here. Like, I promise I won't let you down. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a whole different conversation. But like that year, that summer, I spent it figuring out what it meant to be a leader. Like, I was just struggling. Like, I was like, okay, don't do this. Like, put that out of your mouth. And like, I was just like a mean babysitter. That's what I felt like that year.
Okay.
Because it was like, we were trying to achieve this goal to get them to know Christ better. But then in my mind, I was like, but that's not happening because there's bullying going on and there's kids smoking and like it was really a lot. And I was like, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't feel right. And so I would say until 2022 is when I was still again trying to figure it out. I feel like 2023 is when I kicked in. Like, okay, this is what it meant. And that's after I spent a semester at IBC.
There you go.
So that says a lot. That says a lot. But once I got an understanding of it, I was like, okay, yeah. Humility, patience, kindness, gentleness, goodness, all this, the fruits of the Spirit. Like, this is key when it comes to being a leader. And like, this is important. If you don't have this as a leader, as a counselor for these kids that look up to you, you're gonna make you're gonna jump into some puddles, and that mud is just gonna get on to the kids, and it's gonna be messy and dirty. And like, you want to be able to like give them pure what the goodness from God through you to them, and to show that in the way that you talk, the way that you walk, and how you even treat other staff members. So so like it that's when it showed, and I was like, wow. And the impact, like, I think I don't want to get emotional, but last year, after realizing it in 2023, I felt I came off really strong. And then last year I ended it really well, because each week I had a new mindset of, okay, God, these are a new set of kids. I can't have expectations on them. I have no expectations on them. I'm not going to label them. I'm not going to say this is who you are, this is what you deal with. I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to have fun with these kids, and I'm going to do my best to make each of them laugh. Like, that was my goal. And then if they see the Lord in me and they're curious, then I'll do that. I'm not going to force anything on them.
Yeah.
And man, like, what an impact. Like, I remember this one kid, he was very much labeled and was like, oh, here comes this group. Oh, here comes this kid. Oh, we already know what's going to happen. And then people were like, oh, he's in your cabin. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh no. But then I was like, okay, maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a reason this person's in my cabin. So I was like, Lord, I'm going to trust you with this. I'm going to trust you with this kid that's already had a name, and he's already placed as, an expected, probably going to get kicked out. Dang. And I was like, I'm going to let the Lord work. So each time I saw him, I was like, hey, I would say his name, and then go up to him, say hi, see what they're doing. And then most of the time they're just kind of screwing around and doing whatever. But then each time I was always just kind of like trying to just get closer and closer. And I was always saying their name and saying hi. And then like not even 2 days later, the next day later after chapel, one of the church services, they went out of the chapel crying. And I got off the stage, and then one of my friends was like, "Hey, your camper went outside and he's crying." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I ran out, and then I was talking to him like, "Hey, what's going on?" And then he was so, he was just so moved by the music and the worship, and then his friend was there with him, and he was like, "Tell." He was telling his friend, he was like, tell Kai what you said." And then I was like, "What's going on, man?" And he was like, he said, I don't want to live anymore." And then I was like, "Well, why is that?" And he was like, "I don't feel loved." And he was crying, like his eyes were so teary, and he just had his hands over his head. And then I started crying because, after how many years of him coming to camp, and then I guess that breakthrough that happened, I don't take any credit whatsoever. I don't want to make it sound like that. But what I took away from it was like the more you spend time with him, and the more you allow the Lord, and the more you become a vessel, I feel like God touched his heart and just was like revealing so much of himself to him. And so that was my main goal that whole week, was to introduce like my love isn't enough. Neither is anybody else in this world, but God's love is going to make and shake and just go crazy, and like it'll impact you and shape you. And like that's what I want to introduce to him. Not me, not anything else but the Lord. And I think that that's what it takes. That's what I learned as a leader, is like it's all about the Lord. It's not about you.
Wow. I'm lost for words, honestly. It's just in those moments where you really, really know how important it is of making an impact, especially as a leader, because you recently did a Devo in class, man. Especially with the whole idea, like not many of you should be leaders, or teachers. And it was basically the whole idea, like it's an important role. It's a very serious role that God takes seriously, because we could use our words to bring them up, or we could use our words to bring them down. And it's like what you said, if we're not careful, that mud puddle is gonna get that mud on everybody, and that's basically how it is. If you're a good leader, you're gonna look out for everybody. But as a bad leader, you could really bring down everyone, and could eventually, I don't know if it's the worst case scenario, but definitely get in the way of God's plans.
Dang, yeah, yeah.
So being able to hear what you did, like, yeah, of course, all glory to God, but I can see how God used you in that moment. And that mindset was a perfect example of how humility can be the number one thing, especially one of the main spiritual gifts. I mean, not spiritual gifts, spiritual fruit of the spirit, that can be an essential key to not only leading us to Christ, but also others to Christ. So thanks for sharing that story, man. Like I said, I'm just lost for words. It's just like, if you guys don't know, he used to be my camper. So I'm just like, I'm like seeing my little boy growing up now, man.
You should find that picture and put it in the video.
I'll put it up right now. I'm pointing at it right
the light
here.
stick party.
Yes,
with AJ, me, Rian, Tristan, Josh. Gosh, Baby Bear.
Dang.
And who else was it? Did I name everybody?
Oh man, I don't remember the names. It's bad.
Oh, Aiden. And I think that's it. But anyway, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I forget about that sometimes.
Because like, man, Broken Arrow, I swear, can be also one of the perfect training grounds. And with us talking about S.H.A.P.E, like it's so cool that now that wait, are you planning on going to Broken Arrow this summer?
Do pigs fly? I'm just kidding.
They probably do in heaven. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Hey man, the only way to get bacon. I don't know actually. Well, I don't know. Praying about it.
All right.
I feel like the Lord's calling me out of it, and like, all right, man.
Well, whatever ministry it is that God may be calling you for this summer or possibly in the future. Like, I pray that, like, not only the things you learned in your past years of summer at Broken Arrow, but also like the things you're learning here at IBC, especially with Shape, dude. Like, I pray that, hopefully God can continue to use that, especially what you're learning in that book right now.
Yeah.
And especially with your spiritual gifts, like you said, it's like a reflection. You can see which one that God is possibly trying to work in you right now. And honestly, I feel like it's going to be the next scary part for you, is to say, all right, Lord, use me and help me and grow in this, because it's going to be the hardest part now. Would you say?
Oh yeah. The Lord help me to be more patient. Gets in a car wreck or drives down in Tempe, or like, yeah, like there's so much. I I always have the saying, be careful what you pray for, because it's like, man, how else are you supposed to be patient? How else are you supposed to be more like Jesus? You have to go through the fire to come out golden.
Not only that, but having someone alongside you. Iron sharpens iron. There
you go. There it is. Dang, take that golden nugget for your Instagram reels.
I wish I could drop this mic drop, but Will specifically said don't do that. But dude, man, like, I know this whole episode was about Shape, but we just gotten to learn more about you. But honestly, I think it's an amazing way for not only me to get to know more about you, but also just for the viewers to get the better understanding of who you are, and just to see where you came from, and hopefully like your whole life story just now is like a testimony of what God is doing in you, especially coming from a background where a lot of us natives, we come from an area where our parents basically hurt us, or our parents are in an area where they just kind of neglected us, because I hate to say it, but it's honestly one of the major things that we deal with, and not only in the Navajo Nation, but all indigenous tribes out there.
Yeah.
And so, with our show, like we said, rooted in culture, basically in our traditions, and just in our, like, I think it's just, I don't know, we may be different tribes, but we're still all the same blood, and we're all definitely with Christ united together.
Yeah.
Not only just with us indigenous people, but with everyone else in the world. And that's what God, that's basically what Jesus prayed for before the day he was crucified. Like, the unification for all of us, all of us to finally be one, and not only just one together, but one with him too. So sorry, I kind of went preaching mode for a second, but I just wanted what I was trying to go for is just
let's get it.
I just can't help but just say, like, I just hope that for you guys that are watching right now or listening to us, that Kai's story, like, you're not alone. Like, there's many other people just like Kai, just like me, that has gone through the same trials and struggles that you have. And our hope and our goal is to encourage you, to show you that there is hope. There is a God that loves you. There is a God that forgives you. There is a God that knows everything you have ever done, to the lowest of the lows, to the baddest of the bads, but yet he was still there for you no matter what. And with Will being on the team as well, you guys all heard his stories many times before, and how much his heart is for the people as well. And I can't help but just say, man, like, it's just honestly amazing to see how much you have grown up, Kai. It truly is. And I'm really glad you came back this year, man, for IBC.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll be praying to see if God really does lead you to graduate this year and take off to a ministry that he may call you to, or possibly stay 2 more years and go for your bachelor's, man.
Yeah.
That's
praying, I think stuff like this helps. And I would say we did stick with the motto, or not the motto, the direction of the podcast, because in experiences, that's what it talks about. Is it's like the stuff you went through in the past and the things that is who you are now. You know what I mean? So in a sense, we didn't rabbit trail, but we're not rabbit trailers. But yeah, like I there's a lot that you can learn. This is a big shout out to IBC, because it really is, I'm really glad that I'm here and that I'm taking this time, this chance, taking shape to heal. I think there's a big amount of healing that's happening, and it does not look good. It's ugly, you know, but it's working. It is working, and the Lord's working in me, and I feel like he's just patching up every little scar and just really going through. I like to picture it like a house. Like I feel like it's just a broken house. There's foundations all crappy. There's pictures tilted and broken windows, and then it's like no, Lord, I'm good. I'm all right. I can fix this. I watch DIY Network. Yeah. I read those home improvement books. I know exactly what Home Depot would do. But then the Lord's like you don't even have a door.
It's
like,
a rug.
He's like, I can just walk in, but like the Lord's not gonna walk in if you won't let him. You know, he's not gonna invade your space and force you to do anything. It's all up to you. You know, and that's what I'm realizing. It's like I'm like, Lord, come in. Like I need your help right now. Like this is just it's a really horrible place, and I just feel alone, and you know, and then the Lord's gonna replace all of that. He's gonna fix it, and he's gonna make it the way that it was intended. You know what I mean? Like our heart. I just feel like he's working in my heart, and then there's times where like I'll hear something or somebody will tell me something or I'll just deal with something in general, and then it'll come up, and then I'm like, oh Lord, don't touch that, don't mess with that. And he's like, why not? You know, and it's like, oh well, I don't want you to see it. I don't want you to see what's under. You know what I mean? Like I don't want you to see what's under there, or I don't. But then he's like, the amount of love that comes with it is it's like mercy and forgiveness, and we don't. Again, it's really part of us. It's shame. You know, shame wants us to prevents us from wanting to grow, but then the Lord's like, none of that. He's and because the way like Adam and Eve, like when they sinned, that was their first reaction was hiding. They wanted to hide, and what they used was in their own hands. They created this false idea of like, oh, the Lord won't see me, or like the Lord won't see what I'm trying to hide. But then like, obviously God's gonna see it. But then what's even crazier is like God still consoles. He still helps. He still is like, oh ye a little faith, like, don't you know who I am? You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, God, here. And then just start crying, and you're like, all right, next one. You know, and it's just the journey. It's a really good journey. But yeah, shape is shaping me.
You know, I can't help but think like here at IBC, like if I could be, I may be wrong. Maybe will judge me on that, but like shape is kind of like the first step here at IBC. Next is steps to freedom. And then next after that is mending the soul.
Oh gosh.
Because mending the soul right now, as I'm taking it, the one thing that we're going through is that, or the one thing I learned is that it's going to suck. We're going to have to reopen those wounds, but God's going to heal it in a way that it's supposed to be healed, in a way that's actually going to be giving us freedom and the peace that we always wanted.
Yeah.
When we try to fix it on our own, it's not going to heal correctly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I can't help but like it giving an imagination of like us constantly scratching at a scab, but we never let it heal. We just constantly scratch at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then when God finally comes in, it's like us saying, all right, Lord, I give this to you. I'll let you heal it the way you need it to. And then it finally heals correctly. And not only that is it heal, but it comes back stronger because your skin will rebuild stronger after that. You know, that's actually really cool to think about. I'm not gonna lie.
Bars. Throw on that bluey Band-Aid. Get some Neosporin on that. See that? Trauma, it's healed. Flexing your scars.
Hey, man. Dang,
no,
dude.
but yeah, I would agree. I would say that like freshman year, SF, I don't know if there's like a specific like word for it. It's just like Devo time, community time, and you're kind of just talking about Christian life, and you're getting an idea of like, oh yeah, like I know about that, like my identity in Christ, and talking about intimacy with God, like those essentials, you know, they're like little surface level, but then go into shape, you're like, okay, kind of getting deeper, and then MTS is like right there.
Yeah, we're
right there, rock bottom.
We're going through that cave with doom music.
Yeah, yep.
Dang.
There's no stopping. Can't turn around now.
Oh my gosh, I'm thinking of that scene from Willy Wonka where we go through the tunnel and that person's just in the front just singing like la, la, la,
And everybody else is all freaking
out. Oh shoot.
You're right. You're right.
Oh man, I just think honestly, like that's I'm honestly just like, man, I have no words, dude. Like, dude, we talked a lot, dude, and it's
Yeah.
just so cool to see, like, not only ourselves, man. Like I said earlier, just to see you grow up too, and I'm really proud of you, man. Like, if I can say that, I want to say that I'm really proud of where you're at right now, dude. And like with the Navajo taco sales that are coming up, with the Serve Day, with the MIT, I really do pray that those are other opportunities for you to learn and grow too as well, and to also continue in your leadership roles as well.
Yeah.
So, dude, man, I'm excited.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Like, I don't see it sometimes. I'm just always so narrowed, focused, and then someone's like, "Hey, good job." I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Shh, I'm trying to focus. but I appreciate that, and that's even cooler because you saw me when I was 15. Yeah, I'm 21 now, so that's like 6 years. Yeah. Yeah, almost about to be 7 years.
I can be officially an uncle to you.
Be all like, yeah, remember that time we're on RezRootz?
I told you not to do that. No, I was kidding.
It's that monster now. I got diabetes. Look at it. Show the monster. This is what we're going to talk about now. Forget about shape. We're going to look round. We're going to look round 30 years from now.
Chapel today was all about health too.
Yeah. Look at this, Martha.
I'm sorry, Martha.
Look at this, Martha.
I'm sorry. I know you said drink water, but I'm not. Oh, shoot. Well, I think we're at the end of our episode, man. And so I just want to ask you, like, right now, like, if you could give an encouragement to all the viewers right there, especially those that are struggling to find their purpose, what would you say to them right now?
Man, yeah, it would just say general audience. I would say pray about it. No, I think purpose is not something that you like figure out, like just this is who I am and this is there's no purpose. Find purpose in Christ first. I think that's crucial. I think that it's very important to really truly grasp what God says about us. Like we're a holy nation, royal priesthood. We're sons and daughters of God, and we have a place with Him, and there's so much about our identity that is crucial to understand and to truly believe and grasp. Like we're righteous in His sight. We are. Man, I'm trying to think more. What's something that they tell us about our identity? Or that I haven't mentioned, I guess.
Conquerors of conquerors.
Conquerors. Enemies of Satan.
Ooh, I like that one.
I love that one too. And
God's handiwork.
There's like a list.
There's
just like 2 pages of many times that we're fearfully, wonderfully made. We're image bearers. Like there is so much about us that is enough. Like that is in itself is something that we can live off of and always fall back on because it's true. It's truth. And when you build your life on that, that's when you don't even have to worry about what you do. You know what I mean? Like you don't even have to worry about what job you get, what school you're going to go to, what relationship, if you're going to be in a relationship, if you're going to get married, like all of this that the world just constantly questions your identity or challenges your identity, but you can fall back on this truth of who Christ says we are. And once you figure that out, I feel like that's where the Lord's going to be like, well, guess what? You like cats. guess what? You're gonna be a dog owner. Like you just learn stuff like that. You're like, oh, but like a lot of it too is it's like you already kind of know what you like and don't like, and that's part of who God made you.
Hmm.
And what's even greater about that is it doesn't have to stop there. You can use that for the kingdom, for the Lord. And that's where it enhances even more because the fact that you built it on solid ground, your foundation, now that's just going to take light and be used for greater things, for the glory of God. Like how great, how else can that be any greater? Like that's the goal. That's right then and there. And so yeah, I would say, yeah, find your identity and really rest in that and meditate on that and live by that, your identity in Christ.
I like that because I honestly did not think about identity being the first part, man. Because when it comes to purpose, sometimes we just get the generic 5-step program.
Yeah.
But in reality, in like biblical counseling, it also taught me how like it's not like that for everybody. Everybody has different ways of learning what God has in plan for them, whether it's through music, whether it's through that, whether it's through a time of Word of God, or even through a friend. It's so cool how God made himself available in every single way. It doesn't have to be in a specific order or in a specific way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's quite amazing that you really bring out that identity because the devil will definitely attack that.
Oh yeah.
He knows for sure if we are not loving our identity, he's definitely going to keep us there. And it's like what I always say on the show for you viewers. You guys better notice. But if the devil reminds you of your past, remind him of your future, of his future.
Yep. Dang. Well, because identity is dangerous. That is dangerous to him. That is a gun to his head.
Oh man,
of you being like, this is I know who I am. Like I know who you are, and like that in itself is you like there's just power to it because obviously one you don't ever want to come across and be like, all right, let's go slay the devil and like let's go at him, but like he's already lost. You know what I mean? He already knows that he's a sore loser and he's gonna just want to cheat and throw stuff at you and just try to distract you and get you off. But like identity is big and it'll help with so much your relationships, your choice in jobs, and because I feel like a lot of people like to chase after those things first. They like to chase after the wants, like I want a relationship, like for example, like I want a girlfriend now, I want a boyfriend, and like that's what they chase after. But then when they get that, but then they lose it, then they're like, I don't have anything now. Like I feel like I don't have purpose, and that's why you find a lot of people committing suicide because they have so much. They haven't found their true value in themselves. They think of themselves as whatever, like as just a void or whatever, and that's why they get so depressed because they're like, this is all I am. But then like God's like, but you are so much more. And when people understand that, then they can like suicide would be the last resort. You know what I mean? Because they're so full and understanding of this is who I am and I have a purpose. I have meaning to life. And they live off of that. And obviously Satan's going to question that or try to destroy that. But you're constantly like, this is how the Lord sees me. So I'm going to live by that. And this is who God says I am. I'm going to live by that. So because jobs go, people go, things are, vanity. Ecclesiastes, it emphasizes that so much. Don't build your life on this world, on what this world is, because it'll all go away. It's best to build it and smart and wise to build it on in the kingdom. You know what I mean? Because that's what's promised. That's eternal. That's what's gonna last. So don't waste your time trying to, find it here. Find it in the Lord.
Dang, I honestly think that's a great ending point right there, dude. I really appreciate everything you have said, dude. And
I just made all that up. Okay. That's not real. I was just kidding. Okay.
Oh shoot. It's like, no, it's all biblical, guys. Don't worry.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just messing. I'm just kidding.
Well, I really appreciate you, Kai. I really appreciate you being on the show. Will really appreciate you being on the show too. I guess really quick, any last words before we end today's episode?
I'm hungry.
What are you feeling like for tonight?
I don't know, Chick-fil-A.
The Lord's chicken.
Dang, I just feeling
Hey.
all spiritual now.
Hey, you may not be getting paid by the school, but hey, you may be paying just for being on the show, dude.
Yep, my time, efforts, my hard work.
Y'all can check out our Patreon, support this man. I'm kidding, no.
Help me. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten since I got here.
Well, thanks, man, for being on the show. I appreciate y'all being here with us, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And yeah, remember, God loves you, God forgives you. I feel like this is VeggieTales, and He loves you very much.
Goodbye.
Bye.
QWERTY.
QWERTY.
Nothing.
I feel like once we say QWERTY, it's just transition to the title card. We're-